All right, so we have an update here about the new Tom and Jerry cartoon from Singapore that we did a reaction video to when it was first showcased, I want to say a couple months ago. We have an update now, and it's an interview. Relocating animation's most famous cat and mouse duo to Asia. How Tom and Jerry ended up in Singapore. Animation's most famous cat and mouse rivalry will resume this weekend in Southeast Asia, where a new series of Tom and Jerry shorts debut tomorrow, October 21st. Oh, that was 2 days ago. It's one of the freshest updates to the characters in recent memory, recapturing the feisty vigor of Bill Hanna and Joe Barbera's creations, while effortlessly incorporating new elements. Who knew Tom was a durian fan? All right. The 7 shorts will be available in Southeast and South Asia, Australia, and New Zealand on Cartoon Network, as well as HBO Go in Southeast Asia. Globally, the 3-minute cartoons will be available via the Cartoon Network Asia YouTube channel. The updated series features Tom and Jerry traditional back-and-forth antics, only this time in front of the most recognizable landmarks of Singapore. Last year, Warner Bros. Discovery released a series of Tom and Jerry shorts in Japan, but despite being designed in a kawaii style, which is cute, the adventures took place in a fantasy setting. That also makes the new Singapore adaptation the first localized version of the iconic duo. For those unaware, there was a Japanese series of shorts released in Japan where they were Tom and Jerry were very cutesy. It wasn't super slapstick, but they were just kind of very cutesy, almost like Baby Looney Tunes in a way, but just not in a way. A pilot was released in August and can be seen below. I don't remember. I think we saw bits and pieces of this. I don't think we saw the whole thing. So let's take a look at this. This is very reminiscent of the original shorts. The original one, so far, from what I'm seeing. I wonder how young Tom is here. He looks pretty young. Yeah, look at the influence here. Yeah. This is definitely very Tom and Jerry, but this is almost very, maybe early 2000s type comedy here. With what they're doing with the animation. Uh-oh. Here we go with the China. Yeah, he's gonna get in trouble for that. I love the style. I do love the style. The animation style is great. It complements both characters. I love Jerry's big ears and kind of Tom's not so big ears. You can tell Tom's ears are very subdued as opposed to how they usually are, right? Look at that. He's got like the bandit get up there, the little bandit piece on his mouth. Okay, all right. Slapstick is there. Yeah, this is not quite the I don't want to call Tom and Jerry Tales absurd, but there is a bit of absurdity in Tom and Jerry Tales. This is not quite there. This is still got the fast pace of the original. Tom and Jerry Tales was a bit slower pace. Nice. I do love the very little to no voice acting. I think that oh wow. Alright, so he fell in a dumpster. They didn't go the original comedy where he probably crash landed, right? They probably can't do that anymore. I don't know if they could tell that type of comedy anymore. Oh my gosh. Okay, alright, maybe they can. Okay, let's see where he goes here with this. This is pretty great. I'm kind of liking this. Wow, his model there looked very 3D, and I wonder if it is. It's like 2D, 3D. The way he moved his head there, that was good. I wonder what that food is to be stinking like that. It does not say. I can't tell what it looks like. Oh, he's tasting it now, and he's just realizing it tastes good. Like, it might smell bad, but he's realizing it tastes good. Oh, is it cheese? It's probably just cheese that stinks. Oh, maybe not. It doesn't really look like cheese. Interesting that Tom chose to split there. All right, well that was the short. It looks okay. It looks pretty good. I think I'm satisfied with that. I think that it looks pretty good. The shorts were produced locally in Singapore, Chips and Tune, Robot Playground Media, and India, Animation Studios. Vivek Bolar was the lead director on the shorts. We recently caught up with the series producer, Carlen Tan, to learn more about the show and how her team localized Tom and Jerry. Tan, who is also WBD's director of the original production and the development for kids in Asia Pacific, is in charge of greenlighting and overseeing production of kids content for the WBD portfolio in the APAC region. What was your introduction to Tom and Jerry? Is this type of slapstick physical comedy and broad humor popular in Singapore, or is it considered an American style of comedy? I'm sure that it was the same for kids my age all around the world. Tom and Jerry was something that was just always there growing up. What we all loved about the show was that it also made our parents and even our grandparents laugh. It truly is multi-generational. Living in Singapore, when you were waiting at the dentist, waiting to collect your passport, or at the hairdresser, it was on the screens. Everybody watched it, and everybody enjoyed it. With such simple premise, what's not to love? It's definitely not just an American brand of humor. Physical comedy works well across all cultures, so it's not surprising that Tom and Jerry travels so well. Whether the audience is Chinese, Korean, Japanese, or Indian, slapstick makes everyone laugh. It's universal. I agree. Could you explain more about the concept of localization? These cartoons are set in Singapore, but they also have entertainment value to someone who may not be in Singapore. What specific elements did you try to localize to Singapore, and what was intended to be universal for South and Southeast Asian markets? It's a good question. At Cartoon Network, we often ask ourselves how we can make our shows and IP even more relevant for our region. Tom and Jerry is clearly a franchise that resonates everywhere already, but we started to wonder how it would look like with Asian influences, destinations, locally recognizable backdrops, and environments. We're all familiar with Tom and Jerry living in a spacious American suburban house, but how would they look and behave in a city like Singapore, where most of the population doesn't live in housing like that? Fair point. Then there were the props. You can see from our pilot episode that instead of a baseball bat, which is what you perhaps expect to see, Tom has a cricket bat, which he uses in a very specific and authentic way. We hope that these small touches will be appreciated by fans of South and Southeast Asia. So this is the original storyboard drawing. I love the toothy grin he has here, and then it slowly kind of turned into a more concentrated, serious face, right? Of course, we also had to think carefully about the characters themselves. What would Tom Cat and Jerry Mouse from Asia look like? In this region, the characters we like are often cuter in appearance, so we made them a little bit more rounder and cuter with slightly bigger eyes. I like it. There are challenges in all forms of storytelling, but for this project, we were constantly thinking about what we could use, what kind of environments to use, and what kind of gags would work. We also what can we make that would be uniquely representative and authentic from this region? We asked these questions constantly at every step of production, from story to design. Even something as simple as what Tom would be drinking in a situation. Would it make sense for him to be drinking that in Singapore? Those are all fair questions to be asking yourself when you're making a show. I love the storyboard drawings here. It looks identical to what we just saw with subtle differences here, like here. That was just ripped right from Matt. Yeah. A lot of the Tom stuff, it looks a little different, but for the most part, the storyboards are almost one-to-one with the animation. These cartoons capture the original spirit. The gags are funny, the poses are solid, and the timing lands every time. What process did you go through to ensure this faithfulness to the spirit of the originals? Thank you. Something that the creative team, all of us, really loved were some of the earliest Tom and Jerry episodes from the 1950s and 1960s. That particular art style of physical humor was what we were going after with our series. Its success is definitely down to the animation team. Animation in Mangalore, India, was the one that ensured that the timing was spot on. We'd go back and forth over and over again to make sure it was just right. We all watched a lot of old Tom and Jerry to understand the mechanics of the best gags, but also to make sure we weren't rehashing old jokes or situations. Here we go with more storywords here with the smell, the scent. Everything is pretty on model for what they went with eventually. Conversely, in what ways did you update the look and the feel of the show? We drew inspiration from the source material. That's good. But it was also important that the series feels fresh and modern. Pacing was probably the most obvious way. Our Tom and Jerry moves a lot faster than in the originals. Another thing that we really loved about the originals was the music. It's all about that big band, jazzy sound that punctuates all the sequences. We wanted to bring that in, but also have an Asian flavor to add to the mix. We brought in a team also from India called Tuning Folk, who had previously worked on our Cartoon Network original Lamput. It wasn't easy to achieve, and we all had some sleepless nights, but their compositions have a fusion of that Western jazz feel and melody and Asia, using local instrumentation. We used the sitbar, tabla, gamelan, and guzheng, hopefully I pronounced those correctly, for string instruments and for percussion. How was production set up? Was there a conventional TV pipeline for the series, or was there a specialized pipeline custom designed for the production? The whole project was a very collaborative journey. In my career, the best shows I've worked on are the ones where everybody from a pre-production to production to post-production is empowered and able to share ideas. Because this series is set in Singapore, the stories, designs, and art direction came from both Chips and Toon and Robot Playground. Our Singaporean artists were the ones who had a plethora of ideas for the production team on Tom's Drink, for example, but also on the kinds of plants and what's in the background. We had story rooms where the teams all got together and just threw out ideas until we had that story seed we could take to the animation team. They'd then thumbnail the gags and bring them all together. To create the pipeline, there was a fair bit of experimentation along the way. We were learning from episode to episode about how we could streamline and what we wanted to do for the next one. It was all about collaboration. And now here's the mood board, right? Look at that. Look at that. We saw this one earlier, but now we're seeing the rest in its beautiful colored motion here. Looks amazing. Oh, and that's it. Yeah. I'm excited for this, y'all. I think this looks really good. I hope it is not just exclusive to Cartoon Network Asia. I want to watch this myself. I know you guys do too. What did you guys think about this one? Comment down below, let me know. And like always, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.